They provoked the Lord to jealousy with their vanities. Neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, right? By worshiping different gods, and their foolish heart was darkened. Darkened from what? From the light of this truth. When? Back in the Old Testament. It says, professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. Now let's go from there. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, basic building block fundamental scriptures. Verse 2, you know that you were Gentiles, past tense, carried away into these dumb idols, even as you were led. Why? Because when you left your former state of being an Israelite, when you crossed over into worshiping those gods, guess what? You became uncircumcised. Romans 2 and 25. For circumcision, which are keeping of the law, verily profiteth if thou keep the law. So if a Jew keeps the law, it's profitable. What advantage then has a Jew? Much every way, chiefly because it unto them was committed the oracles of the Most High. But if thou be a breaker of the law, so if you are a Jew, an Israelite, keeping the law, but you break the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision. And that's why you had the Jews in Jerusalem calling those Hellenized Israelites heathens, uncircumcised. Why? Because they forsook the law, statutes, and commandments of their fathers and preferred the laws of the other nations in higher regard than the Lord's. Bam. Therefore, if the uncircumcision, which are the Israelites that fell away, so now if he turns around, right, and keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision? That's why the Apostle Paul said, you know that you were Gentiles, carried away into these dumb idols, even as you were led. So that's the bottom line. These are Israelites. It's talking about Israelites. It's not talking about the other nations. Now, let's go back to Romans 9:25. As he said also in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not beloved. And we go right back. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, you are not my people, there shall they be called the children of the living power. Going back to what? To the Israelites. Come on, people. And all you got to do is reference back Hosea, which we just read. Now, let's go from there to Romans 10 and 19. But I say, did not Israel know? First Moses said, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are no people. We just read who these no people are. And by a foolish nation I will anger you. This is talking about the Israelites. All right. Let's see what else we got. Okay, let's go to 1 Peter chapter 2. And let me get rid of this other tab here. 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 9. This is the Apostle Peter speaking to the strangers scattered throughout scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, and all those regions, which are what? Israelites, Israelite foreigners. And this is what he's telling them. But ye are a chosen generation. Who was that said to? The Israelites. Go back into Deuteronomy, Exodus. A royal priesthood. Who was that said to? The Israelites. Go back to Exodus 19. A holy nation. Who was that? The Israelites. Go back to Deuteronomy 7 and 6. A peculiar people. Same place. Israelites. That you should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Why? Because your foolish heart was darkened because you did not want to retain the Lord's knowledge in your mind. So when you went into those different religions, your foolish heart became darkened. You were separated from the Most High. But now you have a chance to be redeemed because you were a part of this at one time. The other nations never had a part in this, which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of the Most High, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. Come on, people. This is talking about the Israelites. So when you go to scriptures like this in the book of Romans, chapter 11, right? Because this is another one he referenced. Spare with me 1 second. Right? Romans 11 and 11, this is what he referenced. So it says, I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? Who? The Jews in Jerusalem that were keeping the laws. What did they stumble at? The stumbling stone, which is who? Yahushua, because they didn't accept him. But not all of them, because some of them accepted him. Some of the Jews, Israelites in Israel that knew they were Israelites accepted the Messiah. You had Nicodemus, you had Joseph of Arimathea, you had the women that believed, you had the disciples, which became apostles. They were Israelites. You had the apostle Paul. The Most High forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles or the Israelite foreigners, for to provoke them to jealousy. Why? Because the prophecy stated that he would move them to jealousy with the foolish people, with the no people, which are the Israelites. How is this? Why is it talking about the Israelites? Because they became foolish. They became uncircumcised. They became a no people. Okay? It says, now if the fall of them be the riches of the world, the Israelites, and the diminishing, because what is the riches? It's talking about this knowledge. And the diminishing of them, the riches of the Gentiles or the Israelite foreigners, how much more their fullness, because they're able to be brought back in because they were part of that natural branch to begin with. But you fell away. You became strange. You became an Israelite foreigner. So you can't boast against the natural branches that were already there. So when we jump down to the 25th verse, for I would not, brethren, that you should be ignorant of this mystery. And this is a mystery. And this is why the Apostle Peter said that these people, they wrestle with the scriptures to their own destruction. It says, least, especially the writings of Paul, least you should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part is happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in, until the Israelite foreigners that were a part of the elect were brought into the fold. And once that happened, and so all Israel shall be saved. So all of the Israelites will be saved because you had a certain number of the elect that were among these Israelite foreigners that were Hellenized that had to be brought back into the fold. It says, as it is written, there will come out of Zion the deliverer. Zion, not the other nations, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob, both the ones that knew that they were Israelites and the ones that didn't know that they were Israelites. Simple mathematics. All right, so this is dealing with the Israelites, not the other nations. And when you go to Acts 13, which is another stumbling block for these Christians, you know, that is also dealing with the Israelite foreigners. But you can't understand that unless you go back to the contract where the Israelites became a no people. They became a foolish nation. And those are the ones that the Lord used the Apostle Paul to go teach, to provoke the ones that knew that they were Israelites to jealousy. It's just that simple. Acts 13:36. For David, after he had served his own generation, by the will of the Most High, fell on sleep and was laid unto his fathers and saw corruption. But he, whom the Most High raised again, saw no corruption, which is Yahushua. Be it known unto you, therefore, men and brethren, that through this man is preached unto you the forgiveness of sins. The other nations didn't have sins because the laws weren't given to them. I'm saying sins according to the Bible. The sin that they did have was when they put their hands on us. But as far as the law, statutes, and commandments, they didn't have that. And by him, all that believe are justified from all things. So they're able to be brought back, these Israelite foreigners, from which you could not be justified by the law of Moses. Why? Because it was through the law of Moses, it was severe. There was no mercy there. Beware therefore, lest that come upon you, which is spoken of in the prophets. Behold, ye despisers and wonder and perish, for I work a work in your days, a work which you shall not in no wise believe, though it be declared, though a man declare it unto you. Right? Now let's jump down to the 46th verse. You could read on more. It says, then Paul and Barnabas waxed bold and said, it was necessary that the word of the Most High should first have been spoken to you. Why did it say that? Let's go to Zechariah chapter 12, I believe it is, and 7. Gone. So let's read this again. It says, then Paul and Barnabas waxed bold and said, it was necessary that the word of the Most High should first have been spoken to you. Why? Zechariah 12 and 7. Yahweh also shall save the tents of Judah first, because the southern kingdom, beginning with the tribe of Judah, was supposed to get this knowledge first. And when you go back, way back, to the time when the school at One West was established, you know, the head men there were all of them were Judah, except for High Priest Lahab. He was a Benjaminite that was, you know, portraying himself as a Judite, but he was really Benjamin. But nevertheless, southern kingdom. All right. That the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. Why? Because Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. So after that, now you could bring the rest of the tribes in, once Judah gets it. So that's what we're reading here in Acts 13. The word of the Most High should first be spoken to you, but seeing that you put it from you, and judge yourselves unworthy of everlasting life, lo, we turn to the Gentiles, the rest to Israel, the Israelite foreigners. All right. It says, for so hath the Lord commanded us, saying, I have set thee to be a light of the Gentiles, Israelite foreigners, that thou shouldest be for salvation unto the ends of the earth. Why? Because the Israelites were scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And this brought great gladness among these Gentiles or Israelite foreigners. Why? Because the talk was, you left, you have no more mercy. You're lost. But now the good news is that no, you're not lost. You can be brought back, but you have, you know, first of all, you have to be part of the elect, but you have to put off all of that shit that you're doing and repent and turn back to the Lord, that he may heal you. And that's the good news. That's the message. You know, that's the gospel. All right. The good news, the gospel. All right. So with that, you know, I pray that this lesson was edifying. You know, I know it's a little kind of all over the place, but this is how the scriptures are. They're like a puzzle that you have to put together. And if the Holy Spirit is not working with you, you're not going to be able to put this puzzle together. You know, and that's pretty much the mystery of these scriptures and the mystery of the Gentiles, that those Gentiles were Israelite foreigners that were going to be brought back. All right. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say, Shalom.